y'all doing? I'm doing good. I have been better. So this weekend, I was playing with Main Street Mojo, my blues band here in Kansas City. They're based out of Lee Summit, Missouri. We were in really hot weather, and even being in the shade, it was ridiculously hot here in this summer. Climate warming, whatever aside, it didn't change the fact that the day was freaking hot. I don't want to get into logistics of science and all that. All I know is what I was feeling. What I was feeling was hot, sweaty, and miserable, but it was a great time. I know, weird. The duality of being human is fantastic. So, hot, sweaty, miserable, happy. So, had a problem, and this actually spawned the idea of a video. My SVT3 started clipping, and I don't mean like I was pushing it too hard. I mean it dropped its audio, like it dropped its volume level, and then it would come back. Then it would drop again. Then it would come back and it would drop again. Soloing on that was ridiculously weird. I have the SVT3 going into the 810E over here, because it's an outdoor show. There wasn't even really a stage, but it was fantastic. It was Lee Summit's Art Walk. We played, it's Howard Park, but there's like a Howard Train Park? Anyway, it's basically inside the Lee Summit Square. There's not really a stage. We set up on grass and a little bit of a sidewalk. And it's just really, really fun. And it was a great time. But with the SVT3 Pro dropping every so often, it caused a lot of issues. But this actually spawned a lot of information for me to tell you guys. My Ampeg amps, despite some of the weirdness I've had, have actually been really reliable. Most of my amps last years, and sometimes I've seen some that are running for decades and haven't had any issues. And some do. That's just the way life works. It's like some of us humans live to 112 years old, some of us live to 20, some of us live to 5. It's weird. It's a lottery. Life is a lottery. So, just remember that you're one of like 20 million sperm cells or 2 million sperm cells or whatever that made it. The others didn't even get a day of life. Fantastic, right? So, the SVT3 started having issues, cutting out sound and everything else like that. And people have asked me, well, Dave, why do you always bring 2 amps to shows? Well, I always bring at least 2 amps to shows, especially outdoor shows, just in case something happens. There's a thing that we refer to as Murphy's Law, which roughly translates to whatever can go wrong most likely will go wrong. There's also another saying that says, the best laid plans of mice and men. I always expect things to go wrong. If they don't go wrong, awesome. If they do go wrong, I had a plan B. If plan B fails, I have a plan C. If plan C fails, I'm going to be really irked, but there's also a plan D. And if plan D fails, the show is basically over. Because, if the soundboard stops working, we're in trouble. So I always bring the amp that I plan on using, the amp that I'm going to use as a backup. Then I bring my DI just in case both the amps have some weird issue or there's an electrical issue at the bar or a restaurant or venue, whatever. I bring a little DI, and then if that stops working, then I just plan on plugging straight into the soundboard. And if that doesn't work, then the entire show is basically ended, because if your soundboard doesn't work, then you don't have a PA system, and your singer is not going to be heard, and unless you're an acoustic band, that's going to be a big issue. Tell your drummer to start playing his drum kit with his hands, because the sticks aren't going to be coming out, and even brushes might be a little too loud. So, all of that said, the SVT3 went out, and started having lots of issues. It had issues when I got it, so it wasn't really surprising to me that it would start having more issues. I have to take it into a professional, get it fixed, because the issues that it's having are outside of my pay grade or what I'm willing to put my hands into a amp that's capable of delivering 450 watts of power. I am trained as an electrician. I'm not shoving my hands into something that can barbecue my heart. No, thank you. Even losing a hand for me being bass playing would be pretty catastrophic. So I'm going to leave that to a professional that doesn't mind risking life and limb shoving their hands inside of, a human destroyer. The SVT7 is light enough that I can keep it in the rack mount with the SVT3, and it doesn't add a ton of weight. it just doesn't. So I can easily run around with this with the SVT3 as a backup. It's 1,000 watts. It's significantly louder than my SVT3, which is only like 450 watts. And that was something else that we found out at the gig, was I had forgot to set my master tone down, because I almost never have to use the amp, so I never thought about it. And start the show, like, just immediately, quickly plugged my input into the SVT7, plugged the output into the SVT7, turned it on, and it was way louder. So at least I know now to change my settings before I do that and watch my guitar player go, "Holy crap, man!" So, sorry, Jeremy! I didn't realize my volume knob was there, because I almost never have to do that. The SVT3's actually been fairly reliable this whole time. But, again, I've been doing this for over 10 years, running around and playing outdoors, indoors, etc., just running around and playing and having a good time. And even I still bring extra gear just in case anything goes wrong, because my experience tells me to always have a plan B. It's not that Ampeg's bad. Most amps are actually pretty reliable. It's just, you never know. The SVT3 just happened to not like the heat that day, and it caused a hellacious amounts of issue. So I had a backup, and it pulled my fat out of the fire. Not that I have a lot left, you know. Whew, look at that. Anyway, always have a plan B. It's the same reason why I always bring 2 basses at the minimum, and it's also why I don't mind playing without a pedal board if something goes wrong on my pedals. Always have a plan B. And when you have a plan B, you realize life is less stressful, because when things do go wrong, you already expected it. Anyway, love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!